Welcome to Worship Tutorials and Worship Leader Wednesday.
We're back.
Worship Leader Wednesday's coming back this year. Of course, we're still going to do the live videos first Wednesday of the month, but we're going to add a few of these types of videos as well on Wednesdays throughout the year. Today, we're talking resolutions for worship leaders. It's a new year. As of the filming of this video, we're about to hit 2023.
Happy New Year.
Let's make 2023 the
Better.
best year for our teams that you've ever had.
And for yourself.
So,
Reduce stress.
here are a few resolutions. We're going to try and kind of hit these quick. We've done longer form videos on many of these topics. We'll link those below if they're available. All right, number one, what do we got?
All right, so we talk about this a lot, Brian. We've had a lot of conversations over the last year about this in our live streams on Wednesday, and that is consolidate your set list.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, I like this one.
Shorten, make smaller
How many of you
the amount of songs you have in your library.
So for each of these points, we're going to give a why behind why we think that these are good things to do, and then a how.
Yeah.
So why should we consolidate the song list?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why. I think the number one reasons I've seen in my own personal career, and you have, and also I've got a lot of feedback from people, is it solves a lot of problems that we have that are inherent to worship leading. One is congregational engagement.
The people don't know
Right?
the songs.
I mean, how many times do we get comments, our people aren't engaged. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they're singing. It doesn't, I can track, most of the time you can track that back to people not knowing the songs. They're not familiar. And it sounds crazy because as a worship leader, you've heard the song a million times.
Played it a million times,
You listen to it probably in your spare time. You've made a chart. You've learned the chords. Now you're having a rehearsal. You're sound checking. You're rehearsing it a couple times. Then you perform it. Then you do another service. I mean, you do that one time, and it's like you've played the song 25 times.
Right.
Forgetting that the person that's coming to church on Sunday has probably never heard it.
So one, it helps congregational engagement. Two, if your song list is shorter, your band is more likely to know the songs.
What a great point, Brian.
So when I'm scheduled and I see the set list, I'm like, I know that one. I know that. It makes me excited because, it might make you frustrated because I'm so sick of this song. But many people in your band are going to be like, I know this song. I don't have to spend an extra hour in preparation, hopefully, learning the song.
Yeah.
So your band's going to be more familiar. Okay, how do we do it? What's a number that we shoot for?
This is the
We've
million
done a
dollar
video
question,
on this
right?
before. It's going to be different for
I've
every
seen
church.
a lot of people land on around 30.
If that seems short to you, quickly, here's the math.
Yeah, so if you do 4 songs a Sunday, that means 4 Sundays a month, you got 16 song slots, right?
month.
Or let's say you only repeated a song once a month.
Yeah.
And you did that every month of the year. You'd only have 16 songs in your library.
That's just hearing it once a month.
So if you alternated, let's say I'm going to do How He Loves once every 2 months. That's it. That's it. Once every 2 months. My library is that's 32 songs.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like 30 is not, it seems like it's not much. But if you are only doing a song once every 2 months, you're not going to have congregational engagement. Yeah. Your band's not going to know it. I mean, if I'm a guitar player and every time I show up, I got to learn 4 new songs, plus I have a job and a life and a family. I mean, as opposed to I get the set list and I'm like, great are you, Lord. I've done this 27 times. Yes.
I'm good.
I already have my patches. I already know what guitar I'm going to play. And want to change keys? Let's go for it. I already know the song so well. That's the kind of environment you're creating. So there's this, if you sit down and do the math, 100 songs is like impossible to do 100 songs. And I guarantee if you're honest with yourself and you look at your song list, and if you're on PCO, you can sort by date scheduled. If you sort by date scheduled and anything is beyond 2022 as of this video, that means you haven't done that song in over a year.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, over half your library will be older than that.
Archive that stuff. It still stays in Planning Center. You can unarchive it if you want to bring it back. Archive it. Clean up your list. Also, involve your pastor in this process.
Yeah.
Please. Get their input. Let them know kind of where your heart is on it and that you'd like to consolidate.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Resolution number 2 is create multiple teams of
That's impossible,
volunteers.
Brian.
It is not
I live in a
impossible.
small town.
Yeah.
I can't find volunteers.
Yeah.
You're at a mega church. It's easy for you.
I'm not.
What do you mean create multiple teams? It's literally impossible for me.
Okay.
I've been using the same band every week. Talk to me.
That's right.
Tell me how
You can start this process with your existing team if you only have one. So first, before we get into how, let's talk about why.
Yes.
Why is it important that you create multiple teams, even though it seems to be an impossible task? And we understand that it does seem impossible.
Number one reason, burnout. Mad church disease. Like people leaving in droves because they're serving every Sunday.
Yes.
It happens all over the place. The odds of you watching this right now, you're either a musician that serves every week and you're like, yep, I know what he's talking about. Or you're a worship leader that's like, yep, I have the same team every week because I can't find people. The truth of the matter is there's so much burnout. And it's just not healthy.
Right.
It's not healthy. And the only way to prevent that burnout is to have a healthier rotation.
Yeah.
And when we talk about rotations, what we're talking about is you should not have the same people playing every weekend.
You need depth.
It's too much to ask for,
chart.
and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And you might be out there going, yeah, but I've had the same team for 9 years and everyone loves it. I'm like,
I'm a volunteer. I serve 3 weekends a month.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that one weekend off a month, it would be rough.
and 3 a month is a lot.
3 a month is
for
a lot.
for you to give up your time, and you're bringing excellence, you're bringing preparation, you're bringing experience, you're bringing all these things, and it's like so emotionally and mentally you engage.
I prepare,
hard when
I
you
prepare.
you know
Yeah.
and that's
So 2 weekends a month is pretty healthy.
2 is great.
Every other weekend, basically. So the other thing this is going to allow you to do, it's going to make scheduling for you as the leader so much easier, and for your team.
Yeah. Well, people are saying
ultimately they want to know I'm on the first and the third weekend of the month for the year.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be gone, maybe I can ask my friend who I can swap with. Like your team can start to fill in the gaps before this happens.
the number one excuse pushback from that is going to be, well, what's easier than just scheduling the same people every week? Well, the problem with that is
you should schedule them.
That might be
different people every
that
week.
might be easier for you because you just have the same guy. But how hard is it when your drummer's sick, or your vocalist is sick, or my keyboardist isn't there, and now you're like, I have nobody, and then so it's not really easier. Plus, for all the other reasons we mentioned, it's in the long run, it's definitely not easier. You're burning people out.
Yeah. How? Develop the system now.
Yeah.
And allow God to fill it. Right.
I remember when I first explained this to Bradford. I think you might have been in there, and I was telling you guys, we got to create teams. The first pushback, of course, is like, well, I don't have two drummers.
Bradford and I were both campus worship leaders in small towns.
This won't work. How can I create? I can't even find another vocalist. How am I going to find two of everybody? Mm-hmm. The problem, you can't look at it like that way. You look at it from the spreadsheet perspective. Mm-hmm. Create the system first. Here's how the system works.
And then we have videos on this. We'll link them.
And I literally have spreadsheets on this. Team A, drums, bass, keys, vocals, whatever. Mm-hmm. Team B, drums, bass. Create the system, create the rotation, create the dream, create the vision for what it looks like first, and then you can start putting the puzzle pieces together. Because it's like the oil and the olive oil jars, and the Lord says, bring me your jars, and you bring 10 jars and he fills them up, and it's like, too bad for you. If you would have brought 50 jars, I would have filled up 50 jars. So you are literally creating the system. Those are your empty jars. Mm-hmm. And you're going, Lord, here are my empty jars. Need these jars filled. And you'll be surprised, the Lord will fill those jars. Yeah. And so create the system first. We have tons of videos on how to do that. But as the worship leader, you have to go into it going, I'm going to make this happen. Mm-hmm. We're going to make this happen. Let's say 6 months from now, you filled one jar. Mm-hmm. You found a keyboardist. So now you have everyone's the same. And then on week 2, everyone's the same except the keyboardists are alternating. Yeah. Guess what? You now just gave your keyboardist a way better chance of not getting burned out.
You've succeeded.
Yeah. And so now it's like the snowball.
Right.
It's like, whoa, this is awesome. Yeah. So now let me do that. And so you put out these feelers, and now you know, hey, here are the spots we got to fill. Yeah. You find a drummer, and then boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And so before you know it, you'll have 2 teams, and you'll look back and you'll go, how did we do this with one team?
Practically what this will look like, see, you have one drummer, okay, so your drummer is going to be scheduled to team A, B, C, and D.
That's right.
But your drummer is going to know that the vision is there's going to be another drummer who's going to be on weeks B and D. Yeah. So I'm going to be A and C ultimately.
That's right. Help me find them.
Yeah, and maybe your drummer wants to help you find them, but like...
Yeah, I would.
Like,
I'd be like, let me help you.
But pray and ask God to help fulfill this vision that you have for your worship team, because it will lead to better health. Your worship team will be so much better off, and your life will be so much better. Resolution number 3 is become a better version of yourself. And here's the question to ask yourself. If you look back on yourself 1 year ago and you cannot identify specific ways that you improved and these can be different for different people, but say vocationally, you're a worship leader, you're a volunteer worship leader, whatever. Are you a better worship leader? Are you better as a musician, as a leader? How have you improved in that area? Maybe it's personal development. Maybe it's like for me personally, like health is an area that I really would like to, at the end of the next year, I want to look back and be healthier. And if I'm not, then we've got some work to do. Personal development, why? I think this is self-explanatory.
Yeah, be a better you. I mean, it benefits everyone. Yeah. It makes you feel better about yourself because maybe you learned a new skill. Mm-hmm. Maybe you got better at organization or better at communication. Again, every time, we get a comment, so-and-so, my musicians aren't prepared, or no one's showing up on time, or like all of those things stem from the way you lead.
Right.
Right. And so maybe some of those things can be fixed by you becoming a better leader.
And another piece of the why is like, I always think it's sad. It's kind of I look back on my life areas as far like take a guitar player, for example. There are periods of years where I did not improve as a guitar player.
Plateaus.
And I look back with so much regret over those periods of time. And I just think like, had I practiced, had I just spent a little bit of time practicing consistently, I would be so much better off right now. And it's just, you don't want to live with regret like that. So how? You got to identify, this is going to be different for every person, but you've got to identify specific areas that you want to improve. And don't just say, don't come up with 50. Because
overwhelmed. That's like coming up with none.
And depressing. Yeah. Come up with one. Yeah. And then break it down into small chunks. You've got to keep breaking things down till you get to a point where it's like, I can do this thing, and I can complete this task, and I can measure it.
Yes.
Say it's becoming a better musician. I'm going to practice more. Well, that's too broad. What are you going to practice?
Yeah, right.
How long are you going to practice? When are you going to practice? Okay, I'm going to practice scales, these specific scales, on my guitar for 15 minutes a day. Okay, now you can measure it.
Yeah.
Say it's health. I'm going to go to bed at this time every day and wake up at this time every day, and I'm going to work out. I'm going to do this workout for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 3 days a week. Okay, you can measure that. You can accomplish it. Break things down into small chunks. And if it seems overwhelming, you've got to keep drilling down into smaller and smaller until it's something that you can accomplish. And then the snowball will start rolling. In a year from now, let's all look back and let's celebrate areas in our lives where we can measurably improve. All right, so there we go. 3 tips, 3 resolutions to help you become a better version of yourself, a better worship leader, a better volunteer, a better person in the next year. Let us know below what it is that you're resolving to do.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, maybe there's some things we'll inspire one another.
That's right.
In the comments. Subscribe to the channel. More Worship Leader Wednesday coming on Wednesdays. It's not going to be every Wednesday, but it's going to be more than once a month.
It's not going to be no Wednesdays.
Forward. That's right. That's vague.
It'll be between 0 Wednesdays and 52 Wednesdays.
That's right. Somewhere in there. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.